Sign up today for a 7-day free trial at alerts.chartguys.com. Howdy bulls. So the cryptocurrency space has come alive very quickly, and one thing to note as far as the action preceding this big bull move, and it has happened before, the last time it was as notable, and what I'm talking about is things just going quiet. And I talked about it in recent videos. Crypto Twitter got quiet. Our chat room got really quiet, and that happened back at the bottom in the 3,000 to 4,000 range as well. So it doesn't necessarily mean a bull move is coming, but it means look for a spike in volatility. It's almost like the calm before the storm, or things are just too quiet, and that means something's approaching. It's the same thing in the cryptocurrency space, and you better believe that there's a lot of people out there, and there's algos and bots that do take that information as far as what's going on in social media and then make some trade game plans or moves based on that. So we did the live video yesterday. We were watching the initial bull break and the 5-minute time frame that resulted from that, and we ended up watching the most important pattern that we were watching was just this short-term 5-minute equilibrium. It ended up breaking bullish, so anybody that made an entry and put a stop under 82.10 certainly was very pleased with that action. And the best part about that is we kept this 5-minute uptrend going, and we did break it here right before the bull break by $4. That's obviously not very convincing, but just little higher lows, and then of course the second huge move up. So I was actually out last night and I didn't look at the computer for 11 hours, so I didn't see this until I woke up this morning, and obviously a whole lot has gone on. So volatility is back in the space. Day trading opportunity is certainly back in the space. Where do we stand now? That's a very ugly daily candlestick with a huge upper wick. Well, we have to keep in mind we have 7 more hours of trading, and we're just looking for a 4-hour higher low to form, and that candlestick shape can very easily change. So let's just say that 9,000 is our 4-hour higher low. We don't have enough information to say that just yet, but let's say that 9,000 is our higher low. That means we're going to look for a bounce and for a 4-hour lower high to form compared to 10,540. So if we were to see over the next 6 hours that happen, we could close today at 9,700, and then that daily upper wick would be much less significant. Either way, we'll talk about longer term time frames in just a second, but either way, we have to see daily trend changes. This move came straight off the low. We have to see a daily higher low and then higher high in order for us to have confidence that this move has sustainability. That being said, I'm very confident that our monthly higher low has been set. And we've been watching for a while now and talking about for a while how we're going to be looking for the potential of a tightening monthly range. One thing that has shifted in the last 2 days for me is seeing how easily, with obviously a lot of dollar volume, but the bulls can see significant pushes, obviously. So a 40% move. And if we were to see another 40% move, which again isn't likely, but if that were to happen, that's going to put us up right near this resistance of 13,800. So if anything that's changed for me, it's the possibility that we can, if there's the right catalyst, that we can just see a monthly higher low and higher high, as opposed to the monthly equilibrium that we're watching for as well. And actually, let's do a little better drawing there. It would be higher low, and then we would look for a lower high in the low 5-figure range, and we'd look for this range to tighten up into early 2020. So those are the two scenarios. In my opinion, equilibrium probably still the most likely. Second most likely is a bull break. Third most likely is a loss of the monthly higher low. So, or I should say the least likely. So that's where we stand bigger picture. And the bigger picture is why I'm still in a position, and someone just asked a good question in the chat room. I usually, when I'm playing oversold bounces, I'm usually treating those as short-term positions, and I'm usually locking in my 2 to 5% move. Why didn't I this time on my entry at 7,300? And the answer is, number one, looking for a monthly higher low. So the bigger picture told me, keep an eye on the potential of a really good entry, because if we form a monthly higher low, we're going to be looking at, I was talking about in a recent video, how 50% moves will be easy. And that was really nice timing. And I was using Litecoin as an example, where I was looking at the monthly time frame for Litecoin, and I said, once we find a monthly higher low, we're going to be looking at a potential 50% move. So at this point, we would have to see the bulls get up to $70 or so, which has not happened. But in just 2 days, we got fairly close to that. So monthly higher lows likely set. We will need follow through. We will need daily higher low and higher high eventually in order to see that follow through. But aside from just looking for a monthly higher low, why was I looking for why was I holding? And it was this post right here, and this was about 3 hours before the pump, and I'm very fortunate that I zoomed in and looked at things a little bit more closely. This is in the chat room here, where I said that I was watching now the daily falling wedges on both Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance chart. At that point, I was aware of the Bitcoin dominance falling wedge, and it was certainly something I was keeping an eye on. Talked about that in recent videos as well, and that obviously broke out in a big way. But it was the first time for me that I had noticed the Bitcoin falling wedge that was forming. And it was on the daily time frame where I was looking at this pattern right here. And again, at that point in time, we were right here on this support line. And so these two factors saying, okay, falling wedge, which is a bullish reversal pattern on Bitcoin, on the Bitcoin dominance chart, in combination that our monthly high or low is what we're looking for, that's enough for me to give this trade a little bit longer to play out. And obviously at this point, it's gone well. Aside from that, I have made another entry in Bitcoin right now, where I woke up this morning, I looked at everything, I said, okay, we're looking for a 4-hour high or low. I want to add for a 4-hour high or low, because when we see big time spikes in volatility, the most likely scenario is equilibriums. So once we find that 4-hour high or low, we're going to be looking for a bounce and a 4-hour lower high, potentially to the upper $9,000 range. So that's a nice 6-7% move possibly. So I entered another position at 9,200. At that point, our low was 9,015. So I put my stop under 9,000 and I have a sell target in the 9,600s. That would just give me a day maker, and I would keep the position from 7,300. That's a longer term swing position at this point, but I will be trading the shorter term moves in the meantime. And this is my attempt at trying to get another position for the 4-hour high or low. So my risk is about $200. My reward is about $400, and watching for the potential of a 4-hour equilibrium. If I get stopped out and we break 9,000, that tells us our 4-hour high or low has not been set yet, and we'll then shift our focus to the exponential 12-period moving average, which is quickly catching up, but it's still down at 8,600. It's probably going to be in the 8,700s in 5 minutes here when this candlestick changes over, and we will be looking at that as a visual guide if 9,000 breaks. The bulls here have to change this hourly trend. We have our low, high of the bounce is 9,454, higher low here, and we have to see a break of 9,454 if we're going to be confident that our 4-hour higher low has been established. So that's the bigger picture for Bitcoin right now. There are some rumors out there, and take this with a huge grain of salt, but it's just interesting and fascinating. Number one, what caused this short squeeze? And yes, it was a ton of shorts getting squeezed. The China news, that's what everybody's pointing to. But when I look for the market to react to news, if you're telling me that it's this China news that had the move happen, that's telling me this is a very inefficient market, because an efficient market is going to react to that news literally minutes after it comes out. How many times have we seen FUD dumps or big bull moves from an article that was posted minutes earlier? So we saw this China news Friday morning, and it literally took hours and hours, I don't know how many off the top of my head, but at least 3, for any kind of bull action. So I don't know. I mean, I looked at China's hours, and it came out, I think, 11 p.m. China time. So it's not like China woke up and then responded to this news. And the news being that China's president coming out and saying, we're going forward with blockchain. This is the future. We're going to be building systems on it. And that's not directly related to Bitcoin, but obviously that any positive sentiment from a global superpower on blockchain is only going to help the cryptocurrency space. So focus is on China short term. There's rumors going on out there. Again, take them with a huge grain of salt. I am not basing any trade game plan based on this rumor, but it's something I'm going to keep an eye out for. Someone saying the potential that China is going to come out with a publicly traded company dealing with blockchain early this coming week. If that were to happen, it would be a huge IPO, and there would be a ton of hype, a ton of talk. You better believe CNBC is going to be talking about it nonstop, and that could be the potential for a catalyst for another leg up on Bitcoin. If that were to happen, what are the odds? In my opinion, that that's going to happen? Very low, because again, this is just hearsay rumors at this point. But if it were to happen, absolutely, I think we could easily get over 10,500 and see some significant follow through. And just off the top of my head, that makes me want to check out GBTC and see what we got going on there. So there's GBTC responding to Friday's bullish action and probably going to see a gap up open on Monday. And the volume's notable. Everything about this move is notable in terms of the volume. It's one of the highest volume moves percentages. It's one of the highest percentages moves we've seen in years, maybe 5, more than that, maybe maybe 6 to 8 years. I don't have the exact date off the top of my head, but it's very significant. So we were talking about short squeezes. And again, how I view short squeezes is I say to myself, okay, if we break this level, how many shorts are underwater? A month worth of anybody that went bearish is now red when we break that level. And as soon as we broke 8,800, that's when we saw the next catalyst for another leg up. We made it up to here to 10,540, and pretty much we got close to putting anybody that went bearish in the past couple of months into the red. And of course, if we can see the price go back up to the $12,000, $13,000 range, there are going to be a ton of very trapped bears. Likewise, if this rumor were to have any credibility, and if we got any news early next week out of China, beneficial to the cryptocurrency space, there's a lot of shorts obviously entering this move right now in the last dozen hours. And if we see another move up over 10,500, the last thing that those shorts are going to be expecting is continuation from this blow off top move in the short term. So again, it could be another little mini short squeeze if we were to be able to break that resistance level. So again, I am not placing any trades based on that rumor, but you better believe Monday I'll have my news feed open and I'll be keeping an eye on China and the cryptocurrency space as a whole. One other important note, just an aside here. So we're looking at that Bitcoin daily falling wedge. Look at the pattern that we've been watching the last week on bull gold miners. Daily falling wedge, and it's breaking bullish in a much less convincing way than Bitcoin just broke, but I find it very interesting that they both had daily falling wedges and they both saw bull breaks pretty much at the same time. That's going to be interesting. Again, just always watching correlations out there, and this isn't necessarily anything meaningful to me, but again, it's just something that I'm going to keep my eye on and see if we can get correlations in the future. So we're going to look at a lot of coins now on USD pairings, keeping in mind that pretty much everybody with a Bitcoin pairing is down. And we can say that when the Bitcoin dominance chart is doing that. We know that the last 2 days, Bitcoin is gaining a ton of ground on those alts, and those alts were crushed. And we were definitely watching for this falling wedge to signal a weekly higher low. Keeping in mind that we are in a weekly uptrend on this Bitcoin dominance chart. And while we pulled back for 6 weeks, we never lost the weekly uptrend. We just didn't establish much support on the way up. So we have our low of 66.42. That was our higher low. And we just formed another higher low at 67.74. And if you are an altcoin trader, your best case scenario is a failure to break 73.42 and a loss of the weekly uptrend. If you are a Bitcoin bull, you want to see this dominance continue and you want to see a break to higher highs. Let's see what the monthly time frame looks like. That's a monthly bull flag. The burden of proof is on the bears to derail that monthly bull flag. But if that confirms, Bitcoin is likely going to be headed back up to the $12,000, $13,000 range that we have recently seen. It's exciting times again after getting very bored with the space, but never taking our eyes off of it. So Ethereum, big upper wick. We did break 197.93, but that's enough for me to call it a double top. It's a break by $1.60. So we double topped at key resistance. We had a weekly higher low form, and now we have double topped at that resistance. We'll just call it 200 resistance. And for the bulls to prove themselves, we have to form a higher low compared to 153 and break 200. And I would not be surprised to see trading within this obviously very large range for quite some time. Again, looking for 4-hour higher lows to form today, but not entirely confident just yet that those 4-hour higher lows have formed. ETH BTC, the red flag was the loss of the daily uptrend, and now it's just followed through with lower highs and lower lows in a convincing way. Weekly consolidation is underway, so low, high of the bull move, bulls have to hold 16.14 for a weekly higher low to form. Litecoin, big upper wick of profit taking. We did break short-term resistance. We have no follow through at this point. Again, focus is on Bitcoin right now on this move without a doubt. And that's where my focus is going to be short-term as well. So looking at Litecoin, 4-hour time frame, higher low trying to form. Not confident that it's formed just yet. And again, for everybody, we will be looking for a 4-hour lower high once that happens. If we get these 4-hour equilibriums that we are anticipating, we are going to look for that break to dictate momentum this week. So if we see a 4-hour equilibrium and then a bull break, that shows tons of confidence from the bulls. If we get a 4-hour equilibrium and a bear break, that shows us that bull momentum has pretty much been lost completely. We'll look for daily higher low to form, but it will be notable that the move is done for now if we see that 4-hour equilibrium bear break. I just got something in my eye. bear with me. So the LTC BTC chart, very clear dump, dropping down to lower lows. 60.97 was our low. We broke that. Not a very convincing break just yet, but obviously the LTC BTC bears are very much still in control at this point. Focus is on Bitcoin. XRP got a bull break, didn't break 327, so that resistance still stands. Looking at it on the weekly, I'm viewing it as a high, low, lower high and higher low on the same candlestick, but watching the weekly tightening range, which is still intact at this point, 4-hour consolidation, looking for a higher low to form. BNB, bull break but no follow through. So weekly time frame, this just changes the clarity of it. You know, could you say that's a weekly trend change with a higher low and continuation? Yes. The fact that it happened on the same candlestick is not ideal for clarity purposes. 4-hour consolidation, looking for a higher low to form. And we need these 4-hour higher lows sometime within the next hour or two if the bulls are going to hold on to a lot of these gains. ZRX-USD also got a little bit of a bull move, but not very notable. And if we drop down and break these supports of 282 and 273, then that momentum is gone for ZRX, and we'll be looking for the first weekly consolidation since the bottom. Again, every week has been a higher low. We have not seen a pullback for a weekly higher low, in my opinion. And last, we got Link USD, bull break. Again, no follow through, but still a daily uptrend. Anything above 240 is a daily higher low, and the weekly time frame, again, hasn't consolidated since down here at 151. Every week is a higher low, keeping this bull move intact. So will there be volatility to play on these altcoins? Absolutely. But just for me to keep it simple, I am just focusing on Bitcoin right now until this Bitcoin dominance chart is no longer favorable. And if we were to lose a daily uptrend, that would lose my interest. But we're just going to be, this move's coming off the low. So just like all these other names, we need a month or a daily higher low and higher high. But you better believe that I am focused on this monthly bull flag for Bitcoin dominance. And we're going to see if we can confirm that sometime in the next couple of weeks. So establish your game plans. If you are in a position, where is your stop loss going to be? Where are you going to exit? If you are not in a position, are you looking to enter on a 4-hour higher low? These all are questions that should be answered on paper in front of you, ideally, set in stone before you ever make a move. If you're looking bearish, again, have your stop set. Without a doubt, tons of people had accounts liquidated on this move. I have never traded margin in the cryptocurrency space. I very rarely trade margin in the stock world. I trade on margin to short and things like that, but I never use more cash than I have. And that just goes back to common financial sense for me personally. I'm not going to gamble with money that's not mine. I'll gamble with my money, but I'm not going to gamble with money that's not mine. So have to be extremely comfortable trading with leverage and have a lot of proven success to put any kind of real money on the line with that, because there are a lot of people, and you can just go through on social media and find the stories, people getting liquidated on the way down, people getting liquidated on the way up. And I just personally, again, there are absolutely anomalies to my generalization where people are going to successfully trade with leverage. But in my opinion, it's the 1%, and it's just a matter of time before an event triggers you to have a huge step back. If I'm doing this as a trader for decades, I want to consistently ensure that I can make 2 steps forward for every 1 step backwards I make in my progress as a trader, in my account value, in my capital gains. And if I open myself to the possibility that I can take a month step back or a year step back or blow up my account, it's just a matter of time. It's a ticking time bomb. And if it doesn't happen in the first 5 months of doing it, it's just as likely to be able to happen in the second 5 months. And there are people that are disciplined enough to be able to do it, but it is not the normal programmed brain setting for the average human being, and it's gambling. We are gambling with the odds in our favor thanks to technical analysis if we're using it correctly. But again, please do not put yourself in a position where you can ruin your life, financially speaking, based on what imaginary numbers in cyberspace are doing on a chart. I appreciate you watching. Hope you do good things out there, and we will see you probably tomorrow as we check in and see if that 4-hour higher low in equilibrium formed.